there's one incredible cosmic connection. Are you ready, Starseeds? Let's get into it for the week beginning March 18th, 2019. Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and today we are going to be looking at the week of March 18th, 2019. Before we begin, if you would like to get some guidance with me and get a personal reading, you can get that over at angelsouls444.com, the services tab. And of course, I have all kinds of courses over at Gumroad. The new ones that I will be getting up shortly will be Invoking Angels and auto writing. So get over there and check that out. Everything is very affordably priced. And a special thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. If you would like to support me on Patreon or check out Gumroad or my website, all that information is in the description box below. If you're watching on a television, that's why I give the information right here, so you can go find it. All right, let's get into the auto right here. They start by saying, a great time is upon you. Take great heed to not rush this process, for you are changing greatly. So things are really shifting around. Our money system is going to be changing drastically. We felt a little bit of that energy, when was that, about a year ago? And we saw some stuff coming up like around Bitcoin and stuff like that, but nothing that most people were getting involved with. Sorry people out there who are into like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that stuff, but it didn't become like as mainstream as maybe I think a lot of people thought. But this is a feeling here that's coming through, like how we live in general, and that involves how we approach our, banking systems and, how we treat the earth, how we eat, how we, all those things. It feels like that's going through a really big shift. But we also see individuals going through a huge shift. So we see people really getting into crystals. It's good and it's bad because, the people who are getting into this stuff, that's really wonderful. And I'm glad that they are, opening up their soul's path. But it can be a little bad because some of them are bringing their ego approach on over to spirituality. We've been talking about that for years. But I've seen people, they just go through practices, they go through the motions of it, and they're not really connecting in yet. But hey, that's what a lot of people who've been on their spiritual path for a long time, that's what we're here for. We're here to help those people and to guide them and help them find their way, if they ask, if they want our help. So we're seeing a real shift in how people approach things, a shift in the consciousness that we've been talking about for forever, right? And a lot of beings that have incarnated here at this time. I don't really talk about that a whole lot. I myself have a lot of Blu-ray energy in me, but the reason why I don't talk about it is because people just run away with it. And people are using a lot of spiritual concepts, as I've always said, for an ego pursuit, and we're not hooking into it. But now I think it's changing a little bit. So people are going to start having some real experiences. And are we talking about people remembering their soul's origin? I think people have, that's a 2012 thing. Not like everybody awakened at the same time. I'm not saying that, but I think that awareness has been there for a lot of people for a long time. I think this is more about connection and people having some real spiritual occurrences happening, maybe that really shakes them out of their stupor and really makes them realize, oh my gosh, like there is more to life than what I thought. Is this like a big time of conversion? No. I just think that people are going to start expanding their thinking a little bit. Time will tell how that goes. We're just talking about 1 week in time, right? So let's manage our expectations, I suppose. They go on to say, your earth will look different. She will behave differently. Your awareness is different. Yes. So again, there's this whole, we put too much emphasis on awakening, the great awakening. Here's this powerful shift. Here's this blah, and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's awesome. I mean, whatever. But we need to go deeper. And I feel like this is the time where people are not just hanging on to the surface level anymore. So this also affects people who, let's say you've defined yourself as a Pleiadian, okay? And you know that your soul origin comes from the Pleiades, and you are in a human body, and you know, you've always hung on to that because it makes you feel better about being a human, which is awesome. Now there's some sort of like new transmission, maybe something getting transmitted to you, something that goes, oh, next assignment, okay, right? Oh, that's right. Or if you have had some awareness of your soul's origins or your soul's complexity, its makeup, you know, all of those things, there could be another facet of your soul that comes into awareness and gets awakened. And yes, it could be this week, okay? Report back. Let me know how you're doing. All right. So it says, you will shine away from the norm. I didn't know what that meant. You will shine away from the norm. So it's almost like we're kind of happy to leave some of the old stuff behind. There's relief with this. For some, you know, that don't really deal with change very well, it could come with a little bit of heartache. A little bit like, oh, it's kind of sad to see that go. Remember the good old days? But don't get yourself stuck there. Okay. You will shine away from the norm. You will come into great clarity for all. They really brought that for great clarity for all. The ills will be, what the heck word is this? I can't read my writing. The ills will be seen, and this is, the ills will be seen, and this is to your benefit, as you will now know how to proceed. So as things start coming up, if we get into this energy of like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart, blah, 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 you know, all of that, that's not good, right? And then really what they're saying is if something comes up, hey, awesome, you find the source of the problem, now you can shift, now you can handle it, right? And we have great clarity on how to do that. Then they go on to say, all light forces come together now. All light bearers have wisdom, but do not negate another's wisdom. There's a lot of competitiveness going on with spirituality, and I know it can be really, really difficult because, you know, we all have our, like I said, our soul makeup, and there are things that we come to this earth to offer, and our different wisdom points. And then when somebody else comes forward and says, no, it's like this, you know, another one might have like a really big reaction to that, be like, it's actually not like that. Well, if we're getting into the cosmic conversation, maybe you're from different, you know, depending on your belief system, but maybe you're from different star systems, okay? The Starseeds. Or maybe you come in with a different purpose, and so you're not meant to see that facet. For me, the idea, and I said this in another video, the one where I answer your questions, the idea of twin flames is a really weird concept to me. And I kind of shy away from it a little bit. Part of that might be because people who aren't deeply connected into spirituality just use that as a hook and then run away with it. But there could be other beings that are incarnated now where that's exactly how things work for them, where there's some sort of soul memory of that. Now, whether that's really expressing on this planet or not, I don't know. I don't know everything, right? but you know, that might be why some people feel so strongly about it, because, and the messaging I've actually gotten about twin flames, because it was really confounding to me. And the messaging I got was, it is not for everybody, and it is of a different time and space. That's how it functions somewhere else. And so beings bring that memory in, and they still try to express that out here. So I don't know, take that for what it's worth, right? But certainly it's not this thing where someone is clearly not on a spiritual path. They clearly are, you know, maybe being manipulative or backbiting, or, you know, I don't know, a lot of jealousy or whatever the case. We all get jealous, but I'm talking like extreme cases, and they're saying, oh, I'm with my twin flame. That's somebody who's just taking something they've observed in somebody else and trying to take it on for themselves. In that way, the twin flame connection, that's not there. That's not happening. It's for such a small bit of the population that it almost, I'm sorry guys, I'm just going to be honest with you, it almost turns my stomach that people, there's so many videos on it. How is everybody, how is everybody connected into the twin flame thing? So coming from a fair place, as I try to do, I'm not always successful, but I try. It might be true for some people who come from a certain soul memory, but it is not to the extent that it's being talked about like across the internet. No way. It can't. Now that I know. I don't really know, but that I feel strongly about, and I want to pass that along to you. So just take that into consideration, okay? So it goes kind of into this message of all light bearers have wisdom, but do not negate another's wisdom. If you are loving, understanding, then you will find your way. Embrace each other. Angelic light messaging, angelic collective. So what they mean by angelic collective is there's just a bunch of angelic beings that are bringing one message forward. So it's not that complicated, okay? So anyway, let's get on to the cards. All right, everybody, let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, so the first card we have out is nurture, Archangel Gabriel. As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. So some people, the immediate message that I get is some people are licking their wounds a little bit. And please, as we go into our spirituality, let's not let this be a competitive sport, okay? I know I'm tired of it. You know, the people being competitive with me, or, you know, feeling like, oh, if I'm going to be heard, then I have to get myself out there and do this, this, and this. So, you know, make sure that, especially if you are a practitioner, we'll get back to this nurturing card here in a second, but if you're a practitioner and you feel like your messaging isn't being heard, remember that it's being heard by the people who need to hear it from you. All right. So that's a big theme of this week, is where we just kind of let down everything that's been sucking the life force out of us. All this stuff of, I got to be right. I have to be heard. I have to be out front. Like, thank God. I know I'm tired. I don't want to keep... maybe it's because I'm like, also like, I don't like getting in the fray. I really don't. I won't back down if I feel like something needs to be said. It's still not comfortable, but I'll say it. But this is that kind of thing where part of the nurturing for yourself this week is letting go of some competition. So let's say you're at work and you've been, you know, in competition with somebody for a promotion. It doesn't mean that you're giving it up and going, oh, take it, I don't care anymore. Right? I just don't want to play these games anymore. But your energy will probably shift around it to a positive attitude of, if it's mine, it's not going to get taken away from me. If it's meant to be mine, it will be mine. If it's meant to be that person's, it will be that person's. You know, it really does come down to us having some sort of, even not, maybe not in a cognitive kind of way, but in a feeling kind of way, from the heart brain, from the heart wisdom, some knowing that that's their path. That's what they're supposed to do. And maybe maybe I need to shift what direction I'm going in, right? So this is a lot of relief, and this is actually helping the inner child quite a bit, because the inner child suffers, the innocent part of us suffers when the adults are being too loud, when we get too worked up about things, when we get too like, I deserve attention, and I've been there. I mean, who likes to, you know, if let's say you're at work and you work several hours and they're like, okay, I'm not going to give you a paycheck because you did this, and this wrong. And all it is a lot of nitpicking. I mean, you know, you wouldn't feel appreciated, right? So it's that kind of thing where, you know, whatever kind of scenario we were in and we were giving it way too much power, too much of our energy was draining away from it, or any kind of fears, you know, that's where the adults are getting too loud. The adult part of you is getting too loud, right? And it's not necessarily, I'm speaking like in kind of metaphorically here, but the inner child sort of backs away from that. This card, the nurture card with Archangel Gabriel, says speaking your truth is healthy, but make sure you're doing so in a loving way. Speaking your truth to yourself, taking accountability. This is very, very helpful. Taking a break from the craziness. Yes. By, you know, we love saying, don't engage, don't engage, don't engage. Okay, thank you. I'm only on the battlefield and like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you know, we do though find a way to truly be able to, I want to use the word coping, but that's a very human word. We do find a way to recognize what's going on, respond. Perhaps you're setting a boundary, but it does feel like it's in this very, very loving way. I remember just quickly an example. There was this gentleman who I won't get too much into it, but let's just say I didn't like his energy, okay? He was coming at me and he's saying all these things, and I felt myself, I was trying to set a boundary with this guy, but every time I set a boundary with him, he would laugh at me. It was this whole diminishment tactic. And finally, and I started feeling myself, again, it goes into old patterning of mine of being diminished and silenced, and, you don't speak up or you get severely punished. And there will be pain inflicted on you if you speak up. I started kind of going into that mode. And then I had this boom. It wasn't even like a conscious thing. I just kind of shifted. And I looked at him and I said, I am genuinely sorry. And I wasn't being cocky. I was not trying to get him in any way. My energy was completely different. And I just said, I am genuinely sorry for whatever happened to you. I really am. I'm so sorry. Whatever happened to you, maybe it was when you were a kid. I am so sorry. And really, something shifted in this person. Like, how did you know that? How did you? Okay. And it wasn't like we hugged it out and it was all lovey-dovey after that, kind of went our separate ways. But that's what we're talking about with this nurturing card, remembering that there is probably for a lot of people right now very wounded childhoods or rough existences. A lot of people who choose this line of work that I'm in, we've incarnated and had rough childhoods and rough experiences throughout our lives. And we have this beautiful opportunity this week, tuning into Archangel Gabriel, to reparent ourselves, and we hear this all the time, it's part of a lot of people's healing process, is to reparent ourselves, to nurture ourselves and let ourselves truly not nurture just in I'm going to go to the spa. Hey, no hate if you want to do that. Garden of the Gods Resort. Hey, I'll vlog at your place if you want to have me over. I haven't been there and I want to check it out. But, it's not just that. It is really being okay and acknowledging okay, a lot of my acting out has to do with this. It's an awareness. It's a very, very deep awareness. But also having that awareness for others as well. It does not mean that you save them. It just means that you go from fighting words to understanding. Okay, I think the truck left. Maybe not. Let's move on to the next card. The next card we have here is Prioritize, Archangel Metatron. Focus on your highest priorities. See, this is kind of the whole through line of this reading so far. I will help you get organized and motivated. So some of you out there, you just want to cling on to the surface level of life. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work. I mean, if you keep yourself just focused on that. Prioritize means we find a way to connect with one another. Doesn't mean we all have to be besties. Doesn't mean that we, again, we're not saving one another. That's not being a real healer. That's being an enabler. So you didn't actually help anybody. You just made them codependent. So remember that if you fancy yourself a healer, know what the real meaning of healing is. Yes. So prioritize means make your soul a priority, have an understanding of your soul's composition. Open yourself up to that. Well, Michelle, what does that mean? If you're not there, if you're like, oh, this reading's weird, I don't really connect to this at all. That's all well and good. There's the beepy truck again. But that's all well and good, but please just don't dismiss it, okay? That will be valuable information for you at some point. You're going to wish that you paid close attention. So just remember that. But the priority here is doing that soul level identification. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to label yourself. That's not what we're working for, okay? Awareness. It can be quiet. It can be subtle. It could be uplifting. It could be a little shocking. Just let it be. And that's what you got to do this week. That's the priority. The next card we have. Yes, gifts from God. So we've got Metatron's brother here. It's Archangel Sandalphon. We angels bring you gifts from your creator. Open your arms to receive. So there is our key to the real gift. And here's the thing. If your intention is, okay, I'll do this spiritual thing if I can get a payoff. If I can get gifts from God, sure, I'll open up my energy to that. That's what I'm saying about being careful with mainstream approaches to, or I don't know, just not getting under the surface when we take our approach to spirituality. And listen, I've been there where I'm like, oh, yeah, I do this. I jump out of bed and I'm like, I've got clients to take care of. I've got to do videos. I got a grocery shop. My nephew's coming. He's a vegetarian. I got to make sure I have plenty of meals for him. Whatever the case may be, this Gifts from God card talks about, okay, you're laying all that down now and you're giving room, if you want to call it manifesting, yes, sure. Yeah, it could have that energy of being grounded and manifesting, but it's more about the spinning mind, the mind that starts going, and you take that shallow, it's not, I don't mean shallow in like a bad way. I'm just talking like surface level. You take that surface level approach to your spirituality, you're not connected into your full potential. You're not actually fully activated. So Archangel Chamuel, Chamuel, is another powerful angel that you can work with this week to help you realize your full potential. But the gifts from God, this is an awesome card to have, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee what you had your eye on. Does that make sense? Just because you want it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for you. Okay? All right. Nice. Gotta wait for the truck. Okay, he stopped. Okay. The next card we have here is Healthy Lifestyle, Archangel Raphael. Eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, and exercise regularly for optimal health. So yes, definitely a lot of healing has to do with releasing some of that energy within your physical body as well, and this extreme self-care. And that goes hand in hand. Here, let me put the deck down. That goes hand in hand. These are extra glossy cards. Sorry guys, if I'm filming, I have lamps on. Oh, does that work? Kind of? A little? Not really? Anyway, here, these cards go together. We have nurturance. We have Raphael saying, hey, eat healthy, be good to yourself, take care of your body, okay? Again, it kind of goes into that, where was it? Prioritize. Make your health a priority. Make your spirituality a priority. Don't be afraid to go deep. Don't be afraid to dive in a little bit more. What was the other card? Then, yeah, because they're drawing me back to this. And then you bring in the gifts from God, which is more by way of realizations. Okay, so the color card, which I meant to pull this deck out. I knew I was forgetting something when I pushed record. Here it is. Let me just clear it out because I forgot to do that. All right, just knocking on it. Some candles. One moment here. If you want to see, well, you can't really see. I guess it's off camera, but anyway, I'm just waving around some candles. Let's see what the color card is if I don't drop the deck. Hi. All right. Oh, okay. So the card fell out. Excuse me one moment. I just have to grab it here. And now my necklace is all over the place. Okay, so what came out of the deck is Pearl, connect to the divine. The number is 25. It reduces to 7. That is a message from the angels saying heaven is behind you. Heaven is helping you. Heaven wants you to be happy. No more swirling around in stuff that you feel is out of your control, beyond your understanding. God wants back in. All right. So give this a chance this week. All right. Do your meditations, do whatever rituals that you do around this time of year, right? Whatever feels right for you, but don't leave God out of the equation. It's time to let God back in. All right. So we're going to leave it there, guys. I'm sending you so much love and take care.